Okay. She declined the invite to speak. Okay. Was that an accident, or that was supposed to happen?
Hi. I have a question.
Good.
So I'm from New York. You know, I've lived in the city for the last few years. I'm sure that you have, as a detective, you know, had your fair share of mysteries or like heinous crimes that you've, you know, it was like onion, you know, you needed to like peel back the layers. So with that experience, how close do you feel the Indiana police are to like making an arrest?
It's a great question. Great question. Thank you. I actually feel even from December, once the Anthony shots was announced, and then not even 24 hours later, we learned it was Keegan. Once that all came out, it pretty much got this all going, and I believe we're very close. And I said it the other night on Sleuths Live that I feel by June that there's going to be an arrest or plural. I feel we are that close. I really do. And you got to remember something. Somebody doing what Keegan was doing, they wouldn't have 30 felonies. If you look at the charges, there's some doubled up charges. So when you're getting squeezed like that and you have that many charges over your head, you have information that you're not given. And as we're seeing now with the 194-page doc and with the HLN question, and he's kind of now implicating his dad, it just shows that Keegan, he's the gatekeeper, you know? We don't know what his role was, you know, if he was. I even said on Sleuths the other night that, you know, could Keegan have not even been there? You know, could Keegan have been? That's why you had the two devices. To me, there was a battle going on within the house of who was controlling the Anthony Shots account, speaking to Libby that day. And, you know, I'm not giving Keegan the benefit of the doubt at all, because what he's done is disgusting. He's an animal for what he did. You know, he's a professional predator.
Playing from Fire.
But when I see that, you know, there's just a little piece of me that says, was Keegan trying to not let his dad control that and get Libby to meet him? That's something we just don't know, but it's a possibility. Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I do. My follow-up is, so, like, I agree with you. I agree with all of this, but my main thing is, so they've known that Anthony Shots has existed since 2017, right? They've known that Keegan Kline is behind the Anthony Shots account.
Yes.
They've known that Libby was in contact with the Keegan Kline account. Why has it taken what could have happened between February 2017 and December 2020 to make them wait almost 5 years to make this like a public matter?
Okay, I gotcha. It was February 25th was the search warrant at his house when they got back from Vegas, and then he was arrested August 19th of 2020. So yeah, there's a long period of time that he was out doing his thing. And what looks like to me, and from Indiana State Police's release that they put out after Anthony Shots came out and after Keegan came out, you know, people were giving them, hey, why wasn't this guy arrested? You had everything. And they said that it was kind of an oversight, but it wasn't intentional, and they have to do better. So when I hear that, what it looks like to me is that on that search warrant the day of February 25th, 2017, you had Indiana State Police and the FBI there. Now, I don't know who signed the search warrant, but it could have been the FBI, federal, they had the search warrant, or even if Indiana State Police had the search warrant signed in Carroll County, they're going into Miami County to serve it, right? Indiana State Police could go all over the state, no county stopping them, and the FBI could go over state lines. So they went to Miami County where he lives, and they just never gave all the information to the Miami County prosecutor to charge him. So to me, it's a huge oversight that he was out for this long and able to keep doing it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Which is, when you think about it, how brutal that really is. that they had. And then when you look at the 194 page doc, you have the two guys. You have Vito from Indiana State Police, and you have the deputy sheriff, basically saying to him, "We got you on February 25th because of the contact with the other young girl, where the masked man on February 20th appears in her window, 2017." So they basically said to them, "This is how we got you. So don't try and play like the Anthony Shots thing isn't you." So you get what I'm saying? So I don't know how it all fell apart and how they got off Keegan, because they had him very early. That's why they went there on the 25th of February in 2017. So it's kind of it doesn't make sense. Something happened where they veered off from him, but then when you watch the 2019 presser, you see them there. That's why they're going back there. To me, they went right back to them. And that's why they use the term, when Doug Carter speaks, he says shift gears. And there's many ways you could say we're going in a new direction. Everything he said at all the pressers was strategically written so that somebody that would know what he's saying knows what's said. And saying shift gears plays into Tony Klein with the car racing, and he's all into cars. So it's kind of like the hint was there of who they were getting at. You get what I mean?
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I guess, so one thing I thought of, like, while you were talking is, there have been, I can't remember who said it, but someone said a couple of years ago, like, in Indiana law enforcement, like, honestly, we thought this would be wrapped up in a matter of weeks. Do you think
was Robert Ives?
Yes, yeah.
That was the problem. He basically said with the evidence they had, even if it wasn't in 2017, he's basically saying if it was in the 90s or whatnot, having hold on, I got my dog up. Having what they had, yeah, she's a mouse. She's crazy. Stop. Having what they had just shows that. Because in the 90s, yeah, there was some DNA stuff, but it wasn't very large. So what did they have that would make him say that, And I don't know if you saw it for 5 years. He even said a few weeks ago, Robert Ives, he's been an advocate for, like, let's get some information out there. He said that the law enforcement should tell the public why they're not giving a cause of death for the girls now. Like, what is the benefit that 5 years later you're not giving the cause of death? So it's good having you have a guy who he would actually, if when arrested me, he might come back as a special prosecutor. He said it. He is open to that. So having him give law enforcement a little bit of hard time, I like to see, because at the end of the day, there is some stuff that they can give. And Anthony Shots, to me, was only given because Barbara McDonald had an interview set up at the jail, or that wouldn't have come out. When it came out 10 o'clock at night, I said instantly, okay, something happened that caused them to come out 10 o'clock at night and drop this news. Because that would be like a 5, 6 o'clock PM thing, not 10 o'clock at night. So the jail was aware that Barbara McDonald was having that interview on the 9th of December. So Indiana State Police said, all right, we have to come out and give them something. So they came out and dropped the Anthony Shots thing, leaving Keegan Klein out. But Barbara already had it. She had him in the jail. So, did she leak it so that his name came out? Somebody did.
Right, but didn't Barbara McDonald say that she didn't know about it until it came out, and then she did digging, and, like, pretty much immediately it was like, oh, it's this guy.
Yeah, stop it. He said, but at the same time, something made Indiana State Police drop that 10 p.m. and come straight out and give it.
Sure.
Right. So something did. And to me, it's that anything to do with the jail is recorded. So she had to make contact, if she went through his attorney or whatever she did to make contact to get on the books to go in there and interview him. So to me, that's where it's coming from, Anyone else who wants
and that's enough.
Oh, come on,
I have
good.
is that. Sorry, I feel like I'm hogging the space, but
no, it's fine. We got time.
I have a lot of questions. What the hell are Keegan Klein's attorneys doing, letting him have a full blown interview with like the main journalist following and covering the Delphi murders? Like, that seems insane to me that a lawyer would allow a client in jail pending charges that will put him away for like the rest of his life. Like, what is that about? I have no idea.
It's very true, because any attorney that I know wouldn't let them speak. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, if he wants to talk, he can talk. You know, the attorney can only tell you, I advise you not. But it's happened many times where, you know, people just, he feels he's manipulating the conversation in that 194-page doc. And if you really pay attention to his answers, he's trying to play like, oh, you know, this was so traumatizing that I'm forgetting, you know, or I packed that away because I don't want to think about it. Like, he was trying to manipulate law enforcement. They were not playing him. You know, it just, he thinks he's smart. He might think he's smarter than everybody else, but as we see it, it totally backfired by him talking to Barbara. I mean, it did. But then I know, I'll give you another one, because I know a question will probably come up about it, is that why did, hold on, it'll come to me. Oh, why did, with the whole attorney thing, and because the attorney was in the room when he was being pressed on Delphi. We do know that. And the attorney wasn't representing him because he's not charged with anything in Delphi. And he has a public defender. From everything I know, he's got a public defender, and they're being paid by the state, and they can't represent you for something you're not charged with. So I hope that makes sense.
Hey, are you able to see the questions that are coming in on the chat board?
Oh no, I gotta look at the board. I'm looking at the board right now.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to let you know that they're coming in, and I could read them to you if you couldn't get to them.
Well, I see one raised hand, but when I go into there, oh, here we go. It's loading up. I got you. Let's see. Let me read this quick.
Sure.
Were either of the guys part of the search party to find the girls? I thought Ellie felt the couple was possibly part of the search party. That's a great question, and I don't know. I can't give you 100% on that. I have seen part of the search party lists, and I do not see either of their name. So as of now, I can't say for certain that they were there or not on either of the days for the searching. Okay, we got another one. Do you think it was a kidnapping attempt, but Abby showed up with Libby and it all fell through? I really don't. When you think about just that video clip and how he's walking towards them, he was there on a mission, and he was there for a murder. You know, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, was it?" There's this whole theory out there that, oh, you know, they were going to abduct them and take them somewhere else. There's no evidence anywhere that there was going to be a, except for the walk across the creek to you know, where they were found on Ron Logan's property. So as of now, we don't know anything about any of it abduction. It sounds more or less like somebody was, you know, looking, you know, to commit a double murder. Fig Mutant. Fig, what's up, buddy? I wonder if the 10 p.m. statement was released so abruptly because one of Anthony Schott's accounts was logged into. That's a high possibility. I mean, high possibility. You have Keegan, who's been in jail since August 19th of 2020. That could have stirred something up. You know, there could have been a contact, you know, made to a female who reported it. But just that 10 p.m. drop, it was to me it was, was somebody, on surveillance and something went bad. There's just so many different aspects that could play into that. If he was on YouTube, that would wake him out if he was on YouTube. What do I make of friend 1 and friend 2? Friend 1 is very interesting how he, moved to Vegas with the 2 kids and allowed our gremlin, Keegan, to stay with him with the 2 children. And I'm not too big on really talking about the part of the doc that had the CSAM in it, because we know it's in there, and we really need to talk about it. It's the worst of the worst. And I found Keegan's response to the children, the very young children, how he was so grossed out by it and he didn't want to talk about it and blah blah blah. To me, it's one of 2 things. It's either Keegan knows that when you're going to jail for anything kids related is going to go bad in jail. You got toddler stuff, and that's he's going to be in solitary confinement if that's his. Or is it not his, and that's somebody else in the house that's into that more? That's also a high possibility. We don't know for a fact on that. Yeah, no, I think that's right. He has a public defender, so his public defender cannot represent him with a conversation about Delphi because he's not charged, and the state's paying. You got a public defender, state's paying the bill, and you can't have an attorney that's being paid by the state for something you're not charged with. Do we have any hands?
Can I ask a question, just from a standpoint from criminal psychology?
Sure.
So I work at St. Elizabeth's for the criminally insane, and we always have to try and depict with sex offenders, whether they are criminal sex offenders in terms of interest in infants, or criminal sex offenders in terms of the prepubescent, and then at the age of puberty, it's not technically medically defined as being a pedophile. I know that's very controversial, but we can't diagnose them as such.
I know it is, but I understand the whole aspect. I get it because I understand that, and people wouldn't really get it, but I do.
Yeah, I know. So with Keegan, I feel like he's just really averse to the infant things. Don't you think this is kind of a big group of people, and maybe he's just the person who has has all of it being...
absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's only one of 2 ways. The way he responds is he is disgusted by it, and he says basically, I don't want to have to talk about that. That has nothing to do with me. And he really responded defensive towards it.
Yeah,
so it's either he's not at all into it. It's not his.
Yeah,
and it's the other person that's in the house, or he was lying. But I do feel that he is not into that. That's my opinion. That's just
I agree with
when
that.
you read it, you'd get a better tell of a video of it. When that video, because that was definitely recorded. When that video comes out, you'll be able to tell him his body language.
Yeah,
it's so hard to see. Listen, Mercy did a great job putting it out. I couldn't listen to it because it was so hard. It was just easier to read. Because they're trying to put their emotion. It's just hard. It's hard. 194 pages. It's hard to go through anyway. But to just act it out, it's almost impossible to get it. To get it with emotion. But yeah, when that recording comes out, you'll see a lot more. But yeah, I do agree that I don't feel he was into that. I feel that's somebody else.
So I have a follow-up question for that.
Yep.
I agree that I think that Keegan Klein's sexual deviance is towards post-pubescent but still underage, and I feel like he finds shit that has to do with literal underage prepubescent children as disgusting as we would find shit about 15-year-olds. disgusting and perverse. Do you think that that points to the Anthony Shots account maybe being so widespread that he doesn't even know who has access to it, or do you think it's within the family?
No, he has access to Anthony Shots and probably his father. They were sharing the images with the Dropbox. And that's why he was using Dropbox. He was basically taking whatever he's getting from the girls. He's grooming and getting them to send this and that videos, and he's storing it away in his Dropbox. Because it's a private server and whatnot, and that's how he could share. Like basically, if you have a Dropbox, you could take you have 5,000 pictures. One image you could share to one person, or you could share it to multiple people. Or you could make, different, playlists or photo albums, and you could share them with either one person or whoever you're giving access to. So that's why I've always said, from the first, once I heard Dropbox, I mean, that's to me, that's Pandora's box. It's just going to open, and you're seeing arrests going all over Indiana, and in the affidavit, you're seeing prior investigation. I mean, we know where that's linking back to,
Yeah, if I may. Can I just say something real quick? Sorry, I already started.
Yeah, go. Go.
The Dropbox is different. If no one's used it, what's different about it than, say, something like OneDrive or even Google Drive? You don't have to have an account to log in, so it does provide.
If they share the file, you're able to access
anonymity, but that's the thing about Dropbox, and that's why it's what he's using instead of his whatever.
That's why
OneDrive or whatever.
Yep. Very true.
So, is it possible that he would have no idea that there would be fucking 5-year-olds on there, and he was genuinely surprised, or do you think that's just a lie?
I think he's basically saying this isn't mine. It's there.
Sure.
It's the images are there. They're on the devices. They're there. So whoever got him, he says to Barbara that his dad, could have had access. We know on the 13th that there was a fight going on in the house where somebody was signing on to Snapchat. Then immediately another device in the house was signing on to knock that person off. So something was going on, who wanted the control. That's what and that's the whole thing: power, control. All these words you're hearing at the press conferences. It's all like a mind game to let that person know, we're coming. It sucks that it's 5 years and 5 years gone by, but they're coming. It is getting there. Checking. Do we have any more?
Actually, let's see. I see a raised hand. It might not. Go ahead.
No, I just got knocked off. I'm back. I'm
Okay. Arki Giamoto, did you have a question? Or did you just raise your hand inadvertently?
Okay,
go ahead.
No, I do have questions. Several of them, actually.
Hey,
sorry
Arki.
Hi, how are you?
good. Hop on in.
This is really great, by the way, and I'm learning a lot and enjoying this. So in terms of so you think it could be wrapped up as early as June. What do you think that that the final steps are, the final nails in the coffin that they need? Do you think they just built up a circumstantial case that could be insurmountable from a defense perspective, or do you think it's possible that Keegan has turned state's evidence? Do you think that's why maybe
I don't see him turning state's evidence.
Right.
It depends. We have to look at it this way. It depends what his involvement is for the murders. He has 30 felonies over his head. They're squeezing him, but we don't know, what his involvement is. Could he get? Listen, if he was, say, hypothetical, he was just there. He was there to, somebody, you're coming with me, and that's that. And he was just there. It's possible he would get something lesser, but we just don't. I would hate to even go there and try and say, and we just don't know yet. But I think we are gonna know soon. Remember that these documents, August 19th is when August 19th, 2020 is when he was arrested. That's when he was interviewed. That's the 194-page doc, and they just did the transcript a few weeks ago. So that shows me that they are lining things up for possibly arrests.
Okay, so I was also wondering about that too. You don't think it's just a coincidence that, or maybe that's not the normal timeline, that somebody has just now gotten around to creating a transcript? I mean,
no.
Okay.
That's an important interview, and why did it go that long? And now Anthony Schott stuff come out, and we're getting close. We are. I think about Doug Carter. How giddy he was. With some of the interviews that he was really he was trying to hold it in, but he looked like he was like a clown a little bit. Like he was going to clap his hands. Like he's feeling we're almost at the finish line.
Right, and the others
and you know what? That's going to be for these guys that worked on this case. Because let me tell you, I hate when people knock them. It bothers me that it's 5 years too. Believe me, it drives me nuts. But these guys are this is eating them up. Anybody that saw that crime scene, you think of Tobe on the day the girls were found, and everybody's saying, why wasn't he talking, and why was it? He was one of the other two weren't there. He was at the crime scene, so he was in shock at what he just witnessed with his eyes, thinking that this happened in Delphi. Like this happened in Delphi, really? So that's why he acted the way he did. Listen, cops are humans, especially when you come upon two kids and the way it's been described that it was a brutal double murder. I can envision what that could be. It's not, let's let them tell us what it is, but it's not something anybody wants to see. But you got to pack it away, and you got to work the case to get the arrest and get it done.
Right. What do you, just in kind of a follow-up to that, what do you think the chances are, sorry about the kicking stuff, the chances are that he's at least by this point told law enforcement, okay, maybe my dad did have access to the Anthony Shots account? Or do you think they've done that, or they've just gotten some circumstantial evidence, or, from another direction or another way? Or what do you think they would need him to, do you think they need him?
I would think that, Tony's phones are probably being recorded. There's a lot going on. I think there's a lot going on. I know he's been riding his motorcycle a lot, and I know the reason that he is riding his motorcycle a lot, because he probably thinks that his vehicle might have something on it that'll tell his location at all times. Your motorcycle's in the garage and not getting to that, and I know that for a fact, because that's just something I did at work. So I get it, Doesn't matter what the temperature is. If you're going somewhere you don't really want to be followed, you're going to take your motorcycle.
Right. And maybe he's also trying to get in those last days of freedom. Like maybe he realizes that the hammer is coming down,
Oh, without a doubt. He stopped talking to his son for a reason. Keegan might not know why his dad's not talking, but maybe, they had, the last time they spoke, maybe he felt something from his son that was like, oh shit, what has he been telling people?
Right. And we know he didn't stop talking to Keegan because he got busted for the CSAM. I mean, as a matter of fact, he posted on his Facebook in June or I don't know, sometime in summer of 2018, a picture of Keegan and said, "I'm so excited, my son's coming home for a week."
Yeah, the lie. That's the big lie. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, my son's coming home. He was in Vegas for 2. The big lie. The only time that we know for a fact Keegan was in Vegas was with his father, February 21st to the 25th.
Right.
Which I would love to know when that vacation was planned, because it's very coincidental that the 20th happened with the masked man at the girl's window, and within 24 hours, those two losers are in Vegas together.
Oh, for sure.
And instead of enjoying himself, like they tried to say, like you're in Las Vegas, you're 4 days in Vegas, and you're on your phone constantly, and you're just looking up the Delphi case. and multiple times listening to the audio, you know? So it just shows you he could say whatever he wants. There's a huge connection, you know? He could say it till he's blue in the face that, I had nothing to do with it, but we're seeing every bit of, that's not true.
Right. Absolutely not. Well, thank you so much. I may have more questions later, but thank you for now.
That's fine. Anytime. Glad you're here.
Okay, thank you.
CD, what do you think the motive is?
It's hard to say. I have a lot of things that totally tie in together, and I don't know if I would hate to say something that I don't know. Let's remember, right? Okay, so you had Libby talking to him. You had the other girl that Libby slept at the house the week before the murders. Those two both talking to him. Then let's go to after the murders. Kelsey's sitting with Renner, and they're at that restaurant, and they're talking. And Kelsey brings up how Libby had a falling out with her friend. If you tie the two together, that's the friend she had the falling out with. So was there something going on there that caused, something to move forward and a double murder to happen? Not saying that the other little girl had anything to do with it, but was there like a little power struggle going on between them, and maybe a threat, from Libby, I'm going to do this. There's so many angles that this could go. But at the end of the day, they're tying to one thing, and that's Anthony Schatz and the person behind it, or two people behind it.
Hi, CD.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Good. All right. I just had a question. When Barb McDonald came to interview after that interrogation, it seemed like Kagan had totally changed, his response about his father. He talked about the abuse. He talked about the only other person that could be on his phone would be his father because he's the only one that lived there with him. Do you think that he maybe got I don't know. I know he doesn't have a lawyer for the charges that are not there, but from somebody else basically describing how serious this was, and he's just starting to break now, realizing how deep he is into this?
Well, remember, when they interviewed him, it was right when he was arrested on August 19th of 2020. You fast forward to 2021, December 2021. He's been in jail for a long time. You do a lot of thinking while you're in jail, and it was recent from the end of November when they did the most November 2021, the most recent search warrant at the father's house, that the father stopped talking to him. So now he's feeling abandoned, like my dad, I'm his only son, and now he's not talking to me, you know what I mean? So there's a lot going on. His father's not putting money on his books anymore, so he's feeling resentment towards his father. And I think Exactly. It goes deeper. I think it goes deeper because he's the one sitting in jail, and Daddy's out riding his motorcycle all over the place. And Keegan, 30 felonies over his head. Keegan knows something that law enforcement wants to know.
And I also wanted to ask about, how Ellie has been saying they're still looking for one missing piece. Do you believe that is the sketch? Do you think that Ellie really doesn't know who that sketch is, or they're just waiting for someone to verify it?
Can you say that one more time? My internet went out.
I'm sorry?
Can you? I lost service for a second. Can you just repeat?
Jeez, I forgot what I said.
You were talking.
I was talking about the sketch of the young man, the second sketch. Do you think that Ellie basically knows who this person is? The missing part is just confirming that he was there. Like they need something more to confirm that person was at the bridge.
Yeah, definitely. Even the changing of the sketch, and when we look at the first sketch to the second sketch, it's a drastic age difference, you know, and there's so many different things like, oh, you know, was it from DNA? You know, was it from this? From what law enforcement said, that was drawn up a few days after the murder, and they kind of, you know, sidelined it from witness statements that you know, brought them towards the older sketch. So it's a tough one. I don't know, you know. I mean, I've worked cases with sketches, and we never had, you know, I've never dealt with anything where you had a sketch that changed a case like this. So
that's what I was wondering.
So it's so hard to say, you know, why and what changed that.
And my last question is, do you think that Tony Klein has a lawyer and that's why he hasn't been pulled in for like an interrogation? His lawyer is just basically like refusing until they press charges?
But that's one reason that they could have, you know, built, you know, and had whatever they had to go for the search warrant at the end of November. You know, it's hard to say, for me to say definitely. I mean, if you know, from even impressing your son that they feel you're their number one guy, the smartest thing you could do is have an attorney. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
It's like any, you know, it's, you know, this isn't a petty crime. It's a double murder. So I would think he has an attorney, but it's just hard to say that, you know, for a fact.
And they probably wouldn't be able to like get a warrant for his DNA because there's really nothing yet. I'm supposing that they could connect for sure to get a warrant.
Well, I'm sure they have, you know, asked him. We just don't know if he's given it or not. You know.
Exactly.
I mean, and the whole thing about, you know, there's so many different, you know, angles. I'm working on putting out a video on the whole DNA stuff, and, you know, based on, you know, just a partial DNA and what would I think it's going to be hard if they have the partial, if it's only a partial DNA that they have to say, you know, it's blank. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough. It really is. But I think, you know, we the whole thing is they've been asking for DNA since the beginning of this case. So to only have a partial is a head scratcher.
Yeah. That's
somebody speaking? Somebody's saying something.
Awards?
Oh, no, that was just me.
Oh, no problem. All good.
No, I was just agreeing. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, anytime, Christine.
Hey, I was dying to ask you something. I want your thoughts on the transcript. When you got the transcript and read it, what surprised you, if anything? Was there something, any particular part of it that really did surprise you, or that your mind grabbed onto, and did anything not surprise you at all that you had been expecting?
I mean, there's just so many pieces of that are pretty mind blowing. You know, the part that doesn't.
Okay, top five mind blows in descending order.
One thing that doesn't surprise me is I feel that friend one is a weak link, and that's why he's pushing off towards him. You know what I mean? If you have, you know, if you're gonna push onto anybody, it's gonna be on somebody that's most likely or possibly not affiliated with the case. He lived with them, you know, for a little bit, so I feel like, you know, is this guy just who he's pushing on? You know, one thing that blew my mind was the masked man. That did blow my mind, and just the whole connection of it, because Keegan knew where she lived already. You know, so on August what was it, the 20th, right? February 20th, when the masked man was there earlier, she said, my parents aren't home. This is my address. Keegan didn't need the address. He knew the address already. You know, so that was totally mind blowing to me. And my thing is, what was going to happen at the house? Why was the person there? Was the person there maybe to get her phone? You know, to get rid of the history on the phone?
Good question. God,
yeah, because, you know, the history's there. So if he's there to get the history, you're going to delete, just like you did, you know, with Libby's conversation. So that does make sense to me, of like, you know, maybe to wear a mask, look in, can I, break the window, grab the phone and get the hell out of here? Or, was it going to be something more sinister than that? We don't know. His other things that blew my mind was just his responses. It's like he's trying to play like an amnesia thing. I'm traumatized. You traumatized hundreds of children, but now you're playing a defense of how traumatized you are from a woman for the government that talked to you and that like totally changed you. He's a pathological liar. And does anybody have any questions about the document? Like, does anybody want me to clarify anything? Are there any questions that were typed out? I don't see anything new on the typed out. Does anybody else see anything new?
So I have a pretty specific question for you.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm from Long Island.
Cool.
I can kind of tell by your accent you might be from that area too.
And I spent a lot of time in Long Island, but no, I'm not from Long Island.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, regardless.
Smithbound.
Yeah. So, like, my mind goes to the Long Island serial killer, right?
Okay.
That's...
Yeah, tell me why. Yeah, forgive me.
Well, arguably, that's the most, the most infamous unsolved serial killer case in history.
On the East Coast, yeah.
Yeah, like post Zodiac killer. That's notorious. What went wrong in that case? Like, because you're a New York detective, right? Or you were?
Yeah, retired now.
What went wrong in that case that might have also gone wrong in this case? Like, well, because I know that James Burke may or may not be involved, allegedly.
Yeah, it's a tough. This is how I'll separate the cases. I feel the Long Island serial killer is one person, and I feel Delphi is at least two, to possibly five. So that's how it's totally. It's just totally set. Like you had Long Island serial killer. You have a serial killer. This one single serial killer that's hunting and doing what he wants. Mm-hmm. I feel Delphi. This is multiple people. This is good.
Because that's interesting. Because like obviously you would know more than me, but I've always been of the opinion that the Long Island serial killer is multiple people, and the Delphi
copycats. You think it's a group?
Like, just like a culture that allowed whatever was going on in Gilgo Beach to continue, and the Delphi murder just only because nothing like this has happened in the 5 years since.
Yep,
is a singular person that did something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know exactly. So it's highly possible that nothing happened since is because of how early they were approached. Murders happened on February 13th.
Yeah.
You have the masked man on February 20th. They're in Vegas on the 21st. They get back on the 25th, and from what somebody who lives near them put on Reddit, and from what I've heard, he's very reputable, there were 20 cars there with the SWAT team. 20 police vehicles and a SWAT team on the 25th when they went there to serve the search warrant. Tony has a violent history, so you're not taking a chance with that, even if it's it's search warrant that's it's not a no knock search warrant. You're still going to come there with the gang, because you don't want anything to go wrong, and the whole thing is it's safety for them too. You want everybody to be safe and nothing to happen when you're doing a search warrant. It is interesting though that they were onto them so fast, which possibly stopped a serial thing from going on. That's highly possible.
Sure, but my question is is it possible that the sheer volume of attention that this case immediately got could have possibly made the the killer to like get the hell out of Dodge, and then now he's somewhere else, like on the opposite side of the country.
No, I don't think
the same thing.
Not with Delphi. No, I don't think so. I think we have our crew.
Okay.
I believe 100% we have our crew.
So then why wouldn't they have escaped and, continue to fulfill their... Because I'm assuming this...
Well, let's think of it this way, right? They tried to make their alibis of going to, not for the 13th, but for the 21st through 25th. They went to Vegas. So they were trying to be, my opinion, out of here right after the 20th. That incident, they know the cops were called. I'm sure somebody might have been a spotter down the road. Cops come, blah, blah, blah. Let's get the hell out of here. So when they leave, and listen, Tony's got to come back for work, comes back on the 25th. They're not expecting to have, what happened at their house when they got home, but that's what happened. And that's, that started, the initial stuff off on them. So it's not like, at the end of the day, where were they going? They didn't know anybody was onto them,
Right.
But they told them when they brought Keegan in, but at that time, they had no idea. They thought like, oh, let's go to Vegas, let's get the hell out of here, and we're going to be, that's our alibi. We're in Vegas, we're in here.
Right, but I mean, after that.
Well, where would they go?
Well,
where are they really going to go?
Yeah.
You could run, but let me tell you something. You could run. I mean, look at the two of them. Okay, so when their pictures get put up, they're very, some of the people you see wanted could be anybody.
Mm-hmm.
These two have very distinct features. I mean, come on, Keegan resembles a gremlin. He really does. He does. If you look at his pictures from 5 years ago and look at what he looks like sitting there with Barbara, jail. This is jail. It's not doing him well. Prison is going to be worse. So I mean, look, his hair's falling out. He's got some kind of like maybe a fungus going on his face. It might be ringworm. Who knows what it is? There's a lot going on there. So that might be also why he's talking a little bit, because it gets a little lonely in there. And when you're a predator, nobody really likes you in jail except for the other predators. So and they'll knife you too. So at the end of the day, it's not like he has anybody in there he can talk to. He's got to watch his back at all times. So that's probably why he's buckling. And then Daddy abandoned him in his eyes. So it all makes sense.
No, yeah, I hear you. But what I'm saying is, what if it isn't the clients? That's what I mean. Like,
well, my whole thing is that Bridge guy might not be the clients. Right.
That's what I mean. So, like, would it be...
That's why I'm saying that there might be maybe 2 up to 5.
Sure, but, like, that's, like, would it be feasible that you would see this MO, like, someone, not the clients, maybe they're involved, not the clients, they saw...
Let's put it this way, right? Mm-hmm. Even if they weren't there, but they set that up, you're an accessory to murder.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's at the end of the day, it just depends what their role was.
And then also,
you know what I mean?
And you're facing, decades in jail. Why not sell that person down the river? But
he's facing, with 30 felonies, he could be facing 60 years plus in prison.
Oh, no.
He's got 30. I mean, it's absurd what's over his head. It really is. Because somebody else that didn't have information might have only 5 charges. I'm not saying that 5 charges isn't a lot. I'm just saying he has 30 charges.
Right. They're basically saying, like, you were going to jail for the rest of your life, or unless you
chirp. Let's go. It's time to chirp. It is. It's time to chirp. It is. The time is now. And that's what they were trying to lean him on that. And this is what I'll tell you that I found very interesting, at how abruptly it ended. I'm not sure if anybody caught on to that, but the deputy sheriff, he was, how do I say it nicely? Deputy sheriff lost his composure, which caused Keegan to say it once. He asked for an attorney once. I don't know if anybody's paying attention to that. But when you're interrogating somebody, that's that's the last thing you want to hear, the word attorney. And they were able to cool him down pretty quick and reel that back in. But at the end of the day, the whole thing is that you're gonna get frustrated talking to somebody like him, because in your head what he's done to all these kids. He's highly likely involved in the double murder. What his role was, whatever. So you're gonna lose. There are times you're gonna lose your composure, but they almost lost him. He said it one more time. That's it. That he's iced. There's no more talking. It's just all right. That's it. So the deputy sheriff, he leaves the room. But we have to reel him back. He did ask him more questions, but then you see he abruptly leaves, and then Vito presses him a little bit more, and then Vito leaves, and that was it. That's just how it ended. Which was interesting to me. So I know there's a part 2 is what I'm getting at, and I would love to see part 2 of that.
I had a question. What kind of leads you to believe there could be up to 5, and what links those potentially up to 5 people together?
There's just a lot of different pieces that fit together, and I'm going 5 as the high, and that's only if there were some extra things done at the crime scene that I would feel there were 5 people. It's something I don't really want to get into that yet, because I can't. It's too hard to break down 5 people without really knowing, But that's something we will address later. But I do feel 100% that the 2 of them are involved. 100%. It's just, what is their role? Because I've watched the whole bridge guy over and over again, because I'm trying to just see something I didn't see before. And it's so hard. It's like I want to fit that to Keegan so bad, because he does have that lizard neck where it shrunks in and he looks shorter. And it's something that's bothering me at how he says he's 5'11", but to me he looks like he's 5'9". So it's a tough one, It is a tough one. If he was 2 inches shorter, I would say, it could be him.
Okay. And did you feel like Kegan was afraid of friend number 2 in that interrogation?
100%. There's a reason that they said to him on multiple occasions, this is your best friend. They're basically saying, this is your best friend in the whole world, and you've never mentioned them. So yeah, there possibly is some fear there. There could be more tying them together, but we'll leave that there for now, because with this whole case, I don't like to speculate too much, to put anything in anybody's head where I'm saying it is fact. Do you know what I mean? And I'm only saying what I feel from just my experience. But it's hard to say something that could make anybody lean a certain way, and I don't feel I'm helping anybody if I do that. If that makes sense.
Sure. Thank you.
No problem. Is there a hand up? Oh. There's a hand up.
Oh, I had a hand up before,
yeah?
But I'm not sure how this works.
Absolutely.
Really.
Come on.
Thanks for doing this. I'm also from New York City.
Awesome. Yeah, hear it.
It's my husky cold voice. But
there you go.
I wanted to ask, it seems like Libby's friend is like a big part of tying this together, both with the incident with the masked man, which is increibly incriminating.
It's huge. It's huge. It is mind blowing. It is. And
then also, I think the same friend said that that she spoke with Anthony Schatz, and he said they were supposed to meet. And they didn't meet.
Yeah. He played it off that we were supposed to meet, but she didn't show up.
Yeah. So
that's the whole thing. Like when you back up and just look at just his responses to everything, and how he's pushing himself away from this place, and then he's dodging that. The guy's, it's just, he's like a chameleon. and you could tell he's just full of shit. You know,
it makes me wonder though. Like, I think the one thing, the cynicism in me, is that all the information we're getting, you know, is staggered by a year or 2 years.
I know.
Like, why hasn't anything happened? And could it possibly be due to? I fully believe in this friend, Libby's friend, and what she said, but
100%. Listen, they also probably got all of the chat history from her. You know?
Oh, okay, yeah. I wasn't sure actually. That was kind of a follow-up question whether you thought the chat history with the friend was conjecture, like retelling, or whether it was like verified by data.
I mean, let's put it this way, right? Libby had that very strange, that the phone was acting up, and she did a total reset. What I said was, let's say Keegan says, I want you to delete your phone. Oh, no, wait. Now, Keegan's a pretty savvy, I don't want to call him savvy. Let's remove that word. He knows how to do stuff with websites and this and that. Could he have embedded a little bug or virus into check a picture of me, and then that can mess up an iPhone? That was happening, 5-6 years ago. Now, every software upgrade, they're getting better and better. But back then, there was a lot of viruses going around on iPhones, so it is possible that he knew how to send a virus to through a picture or a file. And these are kids, they're going to open it. It's Anthony. He's smoothing them over. He's I believe he also sent Libby money, which I would love to get more clarification on that.
Where did you hear that?
That's in the document.
Oh, it is. Oh.
Yeah, it's in the document. It mentions. That's when it's getting to like a blowout point with the. That's why it was so hard for me to, And listen, Mercy did a great job. They really did. For me, it was too hard. I need to read it myself and analyze what was going on in that room, because I did it. I need to, So I know that you could see there was a lot of heat coming on him, and that was thrown in there. Like, you sent, it was kind of said like you gave her money. I gotta go back and look at the exact words, but basically it was like there was money given to her. It could have been $50, whatever it is. It was
that's a lot though for a.
That's what I'm saying. It's enough to show like, he really cares about me, right? I mean, she was 14 years old. $50. You think about $50, 14-year-old. Oh my God, he gave me $50. To a 14-year-old kid, it's a lot of money.
I know.
Nobody's ever done that for a kid before, so they're monsters. They knew exactly. It's like the sad part is, even when like they go to prison, like they talk to each other and they like give each other tips. It's like they're professionals. This is what they're professional at is manipulating our children. I say it all the time. Parents have to have the talk with their kids. Whatever they feel the age is right. Talk to your kids. Tell them. Don't talk to strangers. Don't ever give their address. There's just things you got to do because they're out there. They're there 24 hours a day. Yeah, I see it with my kids on Roblox. Like, you see like an avatar like standing next to them and trying to make conversation. And like, to me, it's like I'm into like, ban that person. Like, I'm crazy because I'm thinking like, it could be a 3-year-old kid on the other end just walking, following him. But at the end, to me, it's creepy. My kid's playing a game and there's just this weird friggin' avatar, chasing after them. So it's just, we have to protect our kids. This case alone should show you. And I do feel horrible for the family that they were told for 5 years there wasn't a catfish. There was nothing with social media, blah, blah, blah. But even when I first looked at the case, I'm like, a random trucker, okay? When you hear all these people that live within a 25-mile radius, they've never been to the bridge. They don't know how to get to the bridge. There's people I've spoken to. I've never been there, don't know how to get there, blah, blah, blah. So, some random trucker just parked his truck. They had 2 hours at Packers and said, I'm going to go murder 2 kids. It doesn't fit the MO. You know what I mean? It just doesn't fit.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And also,
no problem.
I would love to hear you do something on Lisk as well, the Long Island serial killer. If that was ever arranged.
If you go on my YouTube channel, just write it, and I will, within the next couple weeks, I'll get something out.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Maybe I'll do a live or something.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Anybody else? Were we supposed to close out in 15 minutes? Go ahead. I got a few more minutes though. Let's see what anybody else has. Oh, I see a hand. Christine, you have your hand up? I'm hitting you to come in. I keep pushing the invite to speak.
We might go ahead and try that again. I think we've been both hitting it at the same time.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
yeah. Go ahead. I'll get my hands on.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Yeah, it's not bringing her in. Maybe you could try. I won't do anything. You could try.
I can't. Wait. Did that work? Okay. Go ahead, Christine. Or not. Anybody else have a question or thought?
Oh, see, I'm glad I actually looked at the the questions, because two people did bring up when we were just talking about the money. I'm glad I touched on it. For some reason, last night, was anybody having problems with the questions coming up very late? Because I'm just seeing the ones from 9 minutes, 19 minutes, 7 minutes. They just popped up now, and the.
That's because some of them have to be approved, just because the person might have too new of an account or something. So that's why that one was delayed.
Gotcha.
And that's not normal. They're mostly timely. So we can. I believe you had said you needed to wrap up here in a few. So we'll let maybe one or two more questions.
That's perfect.
Thank you so much.
I do see somebody said about what we saw with the 194-page document. That interrogation was 100% videotaped. That's just standard. It's been standard for 20 years. Especially you're doing it with the double murder and whatnot. Definitely recorded.
They made sure they had batteries and tape in there before they even started, right?
Yes. Oh no. When they record, that's all hardwired in. It depends. The ones we used to use, they look like a motion sensor you have in your house. You know what I mean? Like for your that's what we'd have in our interrogation rooms. And you tell them, or you point out, you're being recorded. That's just what you do.
All right. I just have.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay. I just have one last question.
Sure.
I was going to go on Snapchat, like on their official page, but has anyone researched into back to 2017 about Snapchat keeping any information at all?
I did, and I talked to a couple of people, and if you delete the app, right?
Yeah.
Basically, when you delete the app, everything should have deleted back then, but you'd sign in and delete it again. That's what Keegan did do, and you'll see that if you look at the the transcript. He actually did delete it twice, and he was hit with obstruction for deleting stuff. So that's another charge.
I've seen that he deleted it twice, and I was wondering if that had something to do with like making sure it was permanently erased. But apparently they have Libby's phone, and that's how they kind of, I guess, connected the pieces that Kagan was communicating with her that day. So I guess it really wouldn't matter, you know what I mean, because they have her phone.
Yeah, no, it's very true. It's very true.
Right.
Yeah, that's supposedly that's how that actually supposedly, from what multiple people and somebody actually said that they've done it before in 2017, and it just seems that way. Even with Kick Messenger, if you deleted the app, that's why he went right home and deleted it. And getting back to if we just go back to his iPhone 5C, if the 5C was taken that day, I believe we wouldn't be here talking about the case right now.
Okay, gotcha.
Wow,
thank you so much.
Bold statement.
Wow. Yeah, I believe that, and I'm saying that as close to 100% as possible. That phone not deleted, taken right on the spot. They would have had everything. They would have had everything. So it's tough. But I got to get off and listen. Tell Zanny we could do this again, because my little guy, he's waving, saying bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much. Have a great night, you guys.
Problem.
And everyone else.
All right.
Thanks for everybody's participation. Great to have you.
Awesome.
Thank y'all so much. This is great.